As movie theaters return and cinema fans stumble back into them, blinking off the bright light of day, it's also time for another visit from our old buddy, M. Night Shyamalan. Based on the Swiss graphic novel Sandcastle, Old tells the story of a stacked cast who gets trapped on a mysterious beach where time runs so quickly that they'll all be dead within a day. In typical Shyamalan fashion, there are plenty of twists, turns, and reversals by the time the credits roll. So let's talk about everything that has happened by the end of Old. Let's start with a quick recap. At its heart, Old is a pretty basic potboiler thriller. Several families of strangers are dropped off there by a resort shuttle driven by M. Night himself, and they're having a lovely day until a body washes up on shore. In pretty short order, they discover that they can't leave and that they're all rapidly aging. For a while after that, it's pretty basic stuff as tensions rise, people turn on one another, and the bodies start piling up as escape attempts fail. Except, they're on a freaking time beach. It all seems pretty hopeless as the adults wither away and the kids enter middle age. And then the reveal comes. Throughout the film, it becomes apparent that someone is on a ridge overlooking the beach, watching silently as all of this happens. And as our suddenly post-pubescent heroes, Trent and Maddox Kappa, played at this point by Alex Wolff and Thomasin McKenzie, make a final, seemingly fatal escape attempt, we finally cut away to M. Night with a whole lot of recording equipment. This might just be his most on-the-nose role in his own film since Lady in the Water, what with the camera equipment and all, but he reports back to someone that the experiment is complete. Said experiment is being carried out by Wilson & Wilson Pharmaceuticals, and suddenly it makes a lot of sense that so many people on the Time Beach have incurable illnesses. It turns out that the entire resort is a front for the corporation. They target people with new medical diagnoses through a network of pharmacies. This explains the great deal that the newly cancer-positive Prisha, played by Vicky Krieps, got for this hellish family vacation. Guy, played by Gael Garcia Bernal, even name-drops the PharmaCorp early on in the film while he's reading a brochure provided by the resort, though we don't know why they would put their name on their secret research resort. It's not the only thing that doesn't entirely add up here.
I don't believe it.
Anyway, once their research subjects are on site, the company doses them with experimental drugs that are hidden inside some pretty sweet-looking craft cocktails, and makes sure that they get the invite for an excursion to an exclusive beach. Now that they're trapped and the Time Beach is doing its work, remote observation of the victims lets the company researchers know if the drugs are effective enough to keep the subjects alive throughout the day. It's a pretty decent setup if you're not too concerned with doing post-mortem for other side effects and you have enough cash to fabricate the studies or bribe the regulatory agencies you need to get the drugs to the market. Or whatever, it's not like we're dealing with ethical science here, alright? So it's all good, huh? It turns out that the Time Beach is a naturally occurring phenomenon because of, what Hank Schrader loves so much, minerals. Yep, turns out you don't need a quantum realm or a flux capacitor or a hot tub for this sort of time travel. And the world even gets a cool new epilepsy medication out of it. It would be a pretty classic downer twist in the tradition of the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, but M. Night has one more trick up his sleeve. It turns out that the kids, adults, survived their desperate last swim to the reef and didn't drown after all. And thanks to some, magical coral, I guess the coral has minerals that counteract the beach's minerals. Whatever, just go with it. They managed to avoid getting the time bends and escape back to the resort with some evidence of what the company is up to. And now, thanks to young Trent's habits of asking every adult for their full name and occupation, they even know that there's a very convenient vacationing cop at the resort who's willing to work really far out of his jurisdiction and make sure that the Wilson & Wilson executives are arrested on the spot in a massive raid. It's all pretty tidy, maybe even a little bit too tidy, but it mostly works. We were expecting another reversal at the very end as the kids and the cop fly perilously close to the Time Beach in a helicopter, especially with how quickly the corporation got taken down, but it seems that 2 twists was enough for M. Night. We're also still wondering about just how the Time Beach works and how a single dose of the drugs was supposed to stay in the systems of the test subjects as they rapidly age, but one of the movie's many dialogue non sequiturs is a conversation about how hair and nails are dead cells, so that could be part of it. Or maybe the real twist is that this is the first film M. Night Shyamalan hasn't mostly shot in the Philadelphia area. So there we go, the end of Old in all its wrinkly glory. Thanks for watching Screen Rant, and until next time, if you want to know what movie Rufus Sewell's character was trying to remember, it's the 1976 western, The Missouri Breaks. It's pretty freaking good. Harry Dean Stanton is phenomenal in it.